one another. Yeah. So respiration or breathing and our blinking of eyes are the two processes which are both voluntary and involuntary, right? We can voluntarily control our respiratory system, and without our voluntary control, it is going on throughout our life involuntary too. And it is same case in the case of blinking our eyes. We can control our blinking. Voluntarily control of blinking is possible, but involuntary control is also going on. So these two things are both voluntary and involuntary at the same time. So nothing to do with blinking here. Blinking of eyes has a different phenomena and has a different importance. But what I am talking today is importance of breathing in physiology and yogic science. That is, breathing is the only process through which we can go to, or we can control our subtle mind or subtle body very easily. Means I think this is the easiest process. Breathing is the easiest process to control our subtle body, or to have dominance over our subtle body, or to conquer our subtle body. And if you people know about gross body, subtle body, the types of body, having this yogic concept of types of body, there are 4 types of body, like gross body, subtle body, and causal body, and the highest or next level is turiya. So these are the 4 types of body. So gross body is the body we can see in our naked eyes, and uh, subtle body is more subtler than gross body, and subtle body is having much more time of importance, and subtle mind having much more capacity than our gross mind. Means 20% of gross mind and 80% of subtle mind makes our body. So if anything is going to your subtle mind, then it is for you can remember it for long time, right? Like when you learned about ABCD letters, you practiced a lot. So these ABCD letters has been went to your subtle mind. So now you don't have to remember what is A, what is B, what is C, D. It is went to your subtle mind. You can rigorously use ABCD letters anywhere. So,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you sharing your slides, ma'am? I could not see.
no, I'm not sharing my slides. I'm just making a pre concept
Thank you.
before entering to physiology, because we all are yoga students. So I think knowing the importance of breathing or respiratory system in yoga should be there in students. So this is, I think, this is the importance of breathing and pranayam in yoga and in our modern physiology too, because due to controlling breathing, we can control our subtle mind, and subtle mind has much more power than our gross mind. Our subtle mind is much more stronger than our gross mind. More, so many studies are there. If you will go through these concepts you will find so many studies, research papers. So we will not discuss this much. We will enter to our syllabus. So I was talking that this breathing has a very important role in yoga, so that our body as well as mind at the same time. And controlling mind, ruling mind is the of ultimate condition of yoga, right? Patanjali, at his starting of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, says that yogas chitta vritti nirodha, means controlling or conquering the mind is the ultimate state. So this can be done very easily by controlling our breathing. So this important system we are going to discuss today. Now I'm going to share my slides. Just a minute. Okay. The respiratory system, right? Uh, hmm, okay. So, respiration is the movement of oxygen from the outside environment to the cells within tissues and the transport of carbon dioxide in opposite direction. Okay. So, what is respiration? Respiration is the movement of oxygen from outside environment to the cells. Remember, what is respiration? Movement of oxygen from outside environment to the cells. Not only inhaling or sucking air into our body, it's not respiration, it's just breathing. Okay, so what is respiration? Respiration is movement of oxygen from outside environment to cells within tissues and transport of carbon dioxide in the opposite direction. So now is breathing and what is respiration? Breathing is not respiration. Okay, breathing is inhaling the air and exhaling the air. This is breathing. But what is respiration? Respiration means exchange of oxygen oxygen and carbon dioxide by body cells, right? Means exchange of gases by body cells. So there are two types of uh, mm, respiration. Those are external respiration and internal respiration. We will learn about that. Now, just remember, breathing is not respiration. Breathing is inhaling air and exhaling air, and respiration is movement of oxygen into the cells and movement of carbon dioxide outside the cells. Now, respiratory systems are organs that exchange gases with environment. So, what are the organs of respiratory system which helps in exchange of gases from body to environment? Now, process of respiration. two phases that are inspiration and expiration. These are not the process of respiration, these are the process of breathing. Okay. Yeah, these are also process of respiration. These processes are helping in respiration. So two phases are there: inspiration and expiration, flow of air into lung or inhaling air, and expiration, that is air leaving the lung, that is exhaling the air. Now we're moving to types of respiration. What are the types of respiration? Two types of respiration are there. First one is external, second one is internal. What is external respiration? Gas exchange between blood and lungs. And what is internal respiration? That is gas exchange between blood and cells. Okay. So what is going on at first? We are inhaling the air. Now tell me, what do we inhale? Do we inhale oxygen?
No, we inhale many types of gases like nitrogen, oxygen, and whatever is mixed in the air.
Okay, very good. So what is the major gas present in air?
Nitrogen.
Very good. So now my question is, do nitrogen exchange through our cells? Like
No.
oxygen is being exchanged by our blood. Like that, do nitrogen also having the same process?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Everybody, please answer.
Probably yes, because it goes into the body. When we inhale air, then along with oxygen, nitrogen also goes into the body. But because
Okay, probably yes. Anybody is being sure here? Okay, this is
Yes,
task
ma'am.
for you all. You will tell me tomorrow about this. Do nitrogen go into our blood just like oxygen? You will find this and you will tell me tomorrow, right? Okay. So we are inhaling air, and after inhaling air into lungs, this lungs is having alveoli, and this alveoli having so many tiny capillaries around it, and this capillary is containing blood. So the gas oxygen is being exchanged from alveoli to these capillaries due to the partial pressure of oxygen. Partial pressure of oxygen is developed, that is when we inhale, then our alveoli is having more oxygen and capillaries having less oxygen. The partial pressure develops between them, and high partial pressure of alveoli is moving to low partial pressure of capillaries. So exchange of oxygen occurs in lungs from alveoli to capillaries. That is external respiration. Okay, this is external respiration. And then when oxygen is mixed with bloodstream, then blood is reaching to each and every cells of body. Then each and every cell is respirating, means each and every cell needs oxygen due to breaking down its nutrients. Oxygen is needed for breaking down its nutrients, right? So each and every cell is respirating and producing carbon dioxide. Then After producing carbon dioxide, each and every cell is releasing carbon dioxide into blood. Then blood is again coming to lungs. Lungs means inside the lungs alveoli are present. Alveoli are present. So from bloodstream, carbon dioxide again coming to alveoli. And then this is again it became part of external respiration. When carbon dioxide from bloodstream is reaching to alveoli due to partial pressure, so again it become a part of external respiration. Then completes when we exhale that carbon dioxide, then completes one cycle of breathing. So at first we are inhaling air. Then the air is reaching to alveoli through nasal cavity, through trachea, through bronchioles, and finally alveoli. Then from alveoli, the partial pressure of oxygen develops between alveoli and blood vessels. So oxygen is being transferred to bloodstream, and from bloodstream oxygen is being absorbed by each and every cells of our body, and each and every cell is respirating and producing carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is mixed again with bloodstream, and that deoxygenated blood or carbon dioxide rich blood is coming to lungs, alveoli, and now this carbon dioxide is being exhaled by us. This is one complete cycle of breathing. Okay? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So we will proceed. What is the normal respiratory rate of adults? This is 12 to 18 times per minute. 12 to 18 times of inhalation and exhalation per minute. Means it's not like um, 6 time inhaling and 6 time exhaling. So total 12 times. It's not like that. Inhalation once in a while we are inhaling, and at the next we are exhaling. This is one cycle of breathing. Like that, 12 to 18 cycles of breathing per minute is a normal respiratory rate for adults. The organs of respiratory system are nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, alveoli, and lungs. Now, you can see here the picture that is depicting our respiratory system. At first, nasal cavity through which the air is entering to our body. Then pharynx. Pharynx is the portion between nasal cavity and larynx. We have already discussed the pharynx in digestive system, right? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So you all know pharynx. So after nasal cavity, pharynx comes, and then larynx. Larynx is the voice box, and then trachea. Trachea is the windpipe, and then trachea is bifurcated into bronchi, and these bronchs are furthermore divided into bronchioles inside the lungs, and These bronchioles are extending to alveoli. Alveoli are air sacs and they are found in group, just like uh, grapes in a group. Alveoli are like grapes. And then um, this very important muscle for respiration comes diaphragm. About diaphragm also we have studied in digestive system and muscular system. Now, at first, nose is the primary organ for respiratory system, consisting of a large irregular cavity divided by nasal septum. Okay, nasal septum is um, the partition between both nose. The nasal cavity is separated from oral cavity by palate. So you all can understand this. The palate of our mouth, the upper palate of our mouth is separating our nasal cavity and oral cavity. Nasal cavity is lined with ciliated columnar epithelium, which contains mucus secreting cells, secretes mucus. Now tell me, we all have discussed about these cells and tissues, ciliated columnar epithelium, and mucus secreting cells. Now tell me, what are those cells secreting mucus? Name those cells who are secreting mucus.
Uh,
Right, we have already discussed more than once.
Ma'am, goblet cell.
Yes, very good, very good. I'm impressed. You remembered this. If you have remembered this, then I'm impressed. And if you're repeating, then I can't do anything. Okay, very good. So, goblet cells are the cells producing mucus. Then, olfactory receptors are located in the mucosa on the superior surface. Okay, olfactory receptors means they are the part of nervous system. Means nervous system unit. Do you people know what is the smallest functional unit of nervous system? We have discussed about this.
Neurons.
Yes, very good. Neuron. So, neurons are producing nerves. We all having 12 pair of cranial nerve and 31 pairs of spinal nerve. So, olfactory nerve is uh, a, is a pair of cranial nerve among those 12. So, here in nasal cavity only, throughout our body, only in nasal cavity, these nerve endings are directly opened. Means nerve endings are directly in touch with the outer environment. Here in the nasal cavity only. Do you people getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So olfactory receptors are located in mucosa on the superior surface. The anterior nerves or nostrils are the openings from exterior into the nasal cavity. Oh, what's this? I can't understand this. Okay. The anterior nares or nostrils are opening from exterior into the nasal cavity. Sorry for this line. I'm not getting my line. Okay, not so much important. We are proceeding. air enters the nose through the external nares. Okay, nostrils. Nares means nostrils. So anterior nares or nostrils are opening from the exterior into the nasal cavity. Okay, this is very simple. The anterior uh, nares or nostrils are opening from the exterior into the nasal cavity, and then air enters to the air enters the nose through the external nostrils. Then the posterior nares are the opening from the nasal cavity into pharynx. So at first external nostril, then external nostril extends to internal nostril, and then it is connected to pharynx. Very simple structure we have already discussed. The functions of nose. First, inspired air passes. Air is warmed, moistened, and filtered. Sense of smell or olfaction is also detected here, right? So, what are the functions of nose? At first, we are inhaling through nose, and air is getting warmed. Means when we inhale in this nose portion only, air is getting warmed and moistened and filtered by the hair, small hair, tiny hairs of our nose. Those hairs are filtering the air, and warmed by body temperature and moistened by the moisture present in nasal cavity. And the third function is sense of smell or olfaction. Okay. Now, next is pharynx. Pharynx is cone-shaped muscular hollow tube about 5 inches or 12 to 15 semi long. Then parts of throat behind the oral and nasal cavity above the esophagus. Now, where it is located, it is a part of throat behind the oral and nasal cavity and above the esophagus. You can see here the picture that is depicting pharynx. At first, nasopharynx, then oropharynx, and then laryngopharynx. Right? So, nasopharynx, upper part of throat behind the nose. Okay, the nasopharynx connects to the eustachian tube of middle ear. Eustachian tube is part of our auditory or uh, temporal system. Means it helps for listening the sounds or auditory system. So nasopharynx connects to the eustachian tubes of middle ear. Okay. Then oropharynx. Oropharynx is the middle part of pharynx behind the oral cavity. The part of pharynx that lies between soft palate and hyoid bone. Okay. Oropharynx is the middle part of pharynx, and it is just behind our oral cavity and part of pharynx that lies between soft palate and hyoid bone. Okay, you can see here the uppermost portion, that is nasal cavity depicted by green color, and then nasopharynx depicted by blue color, and then oropharynx depicted by violet, then laryngopharynx again depicted by dark green color. Okay, now laryngopharynx, entrance into esophagus, means this is the entrance into esophagus. Then function is to regulate the passage of air to the lungs and food to the esophagus. Okay, here only the regulation done, which part is going to which pathway. Is it air? Then it will going to trachea. Is it food or water or any drink? Then it will going to esophagus. Right? Passage of air to the lungs and food to esophagus. Oropharynx and laryngopharynx muscular wall propel food to esophagus. Means oropharynx and laryngopharynx are the muscular walls that propel the food to esophagus. Means these are uh, propelling the food to esophagus. What to say? This is only the clearance. Okay. Next is larynx, also known as voice box. It is a short box-like structure situated in the anterior part of throat. You all can feel voice box by touching it. And boys can feel their voice box very clearly, because in boys this is the sign of puberty or adolescence, that their voice cracks and Adam's apple or voice box develops. So you can feel a voice box situated in the anterior part of throat. Larynx links the laryngopharynx and trachea. Okay. Larynx is the bridge between laryngopharynx and trachea. Conducts air into lower respiratory tract. So the we can say that above voice box it is upper respiratory system, and below voice box or larynx it is lower respiratory tract or lower respiratory system. Now glottis. Glottis is the superior opening of larynx. Okay, you can see here in the picture too. Glottis is the superior opening of larynx. And what is epiglottis? Epiglottis is leaf-shaped flap of elastic cartilage. Okay, epiglottis is a flap of cartilage which saves our trachea from entering the molecules of food into it. Now, what are the functions? It prevents swallowed materials from entering the lower respiratory tract. Same thing. Epiglottis prevents the food material from entering to lower respiratory tract. Now, what are vocal cords? These are elastin fibers present inside voice box. And what are the function of vocal cords? Vibrate with expelled air to create sound. How sound is created? When the expelling air is touching this vocal cord, then it vibrates and produce sound. Okay. Now, trachea. Trachea is the windpipe. Okay. And the length of trachea is almost 10 to 12 semi long within the neck and upper chest. Okay. After larynx, trachea starts, and it is 10 to 12 semi long from from neck to upper chest. It connects larynx with bronchi and support by C-shaped cartilage. Okay, it is a unique structure of trachea that it is supported by C-shaped cartilage from anterior side. You can see here in the trachea, in the picture of trachea, C-shaped cartilage, white cartilages are shown in this picture. These are C-shaped cartilages. These are not round like a ring. These are not completing trachea. These are supported from frontal side only. At the back side, they are not completing themselves. These are not ring-like structure. These are C-shaped or half-circled. So the C-shaped cartilages are are supporting trachea. Then connects larynx, bronchi, yeah. Number of cartilaginous rings are 16 to 20. Trachea divides into two smaller tubes called bronchi at the level of fifth thoracic vertebrae. Okay, at the level of fifth thoracic vertebrae. Now tell me, what are the types of vertebrae, or vertebra are divided into how many types?
Cervical, lumbar, cervical, thoracic, lumbar, um, sacral, and coccyx.
Very good, very good. So we are talking here about thoracic. Um, Sorry, yeah. We are talking here about fifth thoracic vertebrae. At the level of fifth thoracic vertebrae, this windpipe or trachea is bifurcated into two bronchi, lined with ciliated stratified epithelial tissue. Okay, now you're getting why we are going systematically from starting to here. We all have discussed about cells and tissues, epithelium tissues, ciliated stratified epithelium tissues, and now you can understand what is ciliated stratified epithelium tissue and why it is present here only. Now, expel mucus loaded with dust and microorganisms away from lungs. Okay. When we expel mucus loaded with dust, then microorganisms away from lungs. It transports air to and from the lungs when breathing. So when we are inhaling the air, the air is going into the lungs through trachea, and when we are exhaling air, we are transferring the air from trachea only. Okay. Is it enough or we should go further? I think bronchiole, alveoli. Should we complete or we should stop here?
We
You
can
can
come.
finish it off, man.
Yes.
You can finish until the parts, at least until alveoli. Lungs, if you feel there are many slides, then probably lungs we can do tomorrow.
Okay.
Bronchioles and alveoli you can probably complete today.
Okay. So we are completing from two alveoli. So bronchi are the next parts of trachea. Trachea is bifurcated into bronchi in means now these bronchi are entering to lungs. Till now this pipe was outside lungs. Now this bronchi are entering to lungs. Bronchi are the airway that lead from trachea into lungs. Trachea divides into two smaller tubes called bronchi at the level of fifth thoracic vertebrae. Okay, we have already discussed about this. First bronchi to branch from trachea are the right bronchus and left bronchus, known as primary bronchi. Okay, when this trachea is bifurcating, at the initial stage, means at the starting part, It is known as primary bronchi. Then right primary bronchus goes into right lung and left primary bronchus goes into left lung. Very simple. Right primary bronchus is shorter and left and wider than left primary bronchus. Left primary bronchus is longer and narrower than right primary bronchus. On entering lungs, uh, right primary bronchus divided into three branches in right lungs. On entering lungs, left primary bronchus divided into two branches of left lungs. Now, can you tell me why this is so? If you are sitting with very awareness and you are entering, you are looking sincerely to the slide and listening my voice, then please tell me why this is so.
Because of the number of lobes in the lungs.
Yes, very, very good, very good. Now tell me what are the number of lobes present in which lung?
Right, I think, has two and left has three.
You are wrong. How can you say this? Our heart is tilted slightly towards left.
Left,
That
yeah.
is why left lung is a bit smaller than right lung.
Yeah.
And that is why left lung is having two lobes and right lung is having three lobes. That is why right bronchi is divided into three parts, three bronchioles, and left bronchi is divided into two bronchioles. These bronchioles are entering to different lobes, right? Secondary bronchi divided into tertiary bronchi. So at first primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, and then tertiary bronchi. Next is bronchioles. The tertiary bronchi branch into bronchioles. Okay. Now at first trachea bifurcated into bronchi. Bronchi is further divided into bronchioles and uh, primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, and tertiary bronchi are there, and tertiary bronchi branch into bronchioles. Right. So I'm repeating once again. At first, trachea, that is the main windpipe. Trachea bifurcated into bronchi, and bronchis are having three parts: primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi. And tertiary bronchi is the finest part of these three: primary, secondary, and tertiary. Now, this tertiary bronchi is further branched into bronchioles. No cartilage made up of smooth muscles. Okay, these bronchis are only made up of smooth muscles. The final branches of bronchioles are called terminal bronchioles. Okay, so when the bronchioles are being final, or the final branches of bronchioles are called terminal bronchioles. Terminal bronchioles give rise to respiratory bronchioles, then which ultimately lead to alveoli. So respiratory bronchioles are leading to alveoli. This is the ultimate of lungs. Okay. So this is the structure of lungs at detail. Then there are as many as 30,000 tiny bronchioles in each lung. And what are the functions of bronchioles? Bronchioles delivers air into sacs called alveoli. They are only doing the work of delivering the air or transporting the air or passing the air from nose to alveoli. Now, what is alveoli? Alveoli are an important part of respiratory system, obviously. Or alveoli are bunches of balloon-like air sacs inside the lungs, located at the end of bronchial tubes. The alveoli are converted into covered into capillaries or blood vessels. You can see here in the picture how highly vascular these alveoli are. The alveoli are highly vascular. So these alveoli are covered with so much of capillaries linked with simple squamous epithelial tissue. Okay, the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place. Gases can pass through the thin wall of each alveoli and capillary. Okay, gases can pass through the thin walls of each alveoli and capillary. Alveoli sac is the bunches of balloon-shaped structure called alveoli. Number of alveoli in both lungs are 300 to 400 millions. Okay, number of alveoli in both lungs. You can see here in the picture the structure of alveoli or alveoli duct and how these alveoli are grouped together and how these alveoli are highly vascular. So gases exchange becomes easy here. Okay, I think we should stop now. It's being too much time. I think people having next class. So we are concluding here only. We will conclude the class with ending prayer. So keep your spine straight, close your eyes, adopt Namaskar Mudra in front of your chest, and start the prayer. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve shantu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now rub your palms. Put the palms on your facial muscles. Feel the warmth. Feel the energy.